Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to explain what you need to do to complete the week 3 critical thinking issue assignment. Go ahead and pull it up here and take a look. All right, so here in week 3, we are covering chapters 4 and 5, which means, much like last week, you are going to have two options for how to complete the critical thinking issue assignment. So your first option is to read the critical thinking issue at the end of chapter 4, which is perspectives on evaluating evidence for the existence of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. Or you can choose to do the critical thinking issue at the end of chapter 5, which is perspectives on gun control. All right, so again, it's totally up to you, but you're going to want to have read both chapters, not really just for the critical thinking issue, but the information that we're learning about in both chapters will help you regardless of which issue you choose to work with. Okay, so make sure that you've gone through the chapters and the lessons here in week 3. And then when you are ready to work on the assignment, I've got all of the questions for both options here in the assignment instruction area, but also you'll see both of these documents attached to the instruction area. So obviously this one is if you want to do the one on UFOs, which is assignment /_ W3CTI _ option 1. That's week 3 critical thinking issue option 1. That's the one on unidentified flying objects at the end of chapter 4. If you want to do the other one, that would be option 2, the one on gun control at the end of chapter 5, right? All right, so if you are choosing option 1, which is the critical thinking issue at the end of chapter 4 on unidentified flying objects, you will go to that section on the critical thinking issue, read the introductory information, and then you will read both texts that are provided in that section, right? So we've got the first one is Project Blue Book Analysis of Reports of Unidentified Aerial Objects by the United States Air Force. And there are 3 questions you will answer for that. So how does Project Blue Book distinguish between knowns and unknowns in assessing reports of UFO sightings? Second question, how do the authors account for the fact that so many people believe in UFOs? And the third question, what conclusion do the authors of Project Blue Book draw regarding the existence of UFOs and why? Right? The second text that you can read is the one, it's called Physical Evidence and Unidentified Flying Objects by Royston Painter, and there are 3 questions to go along with that one. Why do some believers maintain that the demand for physical evidence of alien visitations is unreasonable? Why is it unreasonable to demand physical evidence? That's what it's asking. How does Painter respond to their objection? What type of evidence does a scientist such as Painter argue is necessary to establish the claim that UFOs exist? And the third question, what type of evidence does Painter argue is necessary to prove the claim that people have been abducted by aliens? Once you've read both selections, you will then answer these 3 questions. First one, what conclusion do both readings draw regarding the existence of UFOs? Compare and contrast the arguments used by the authors of Project Blue Book and by Painter to support their conclusions. Evaluate the evidence each uses. While reading presents the best which reading presents the best argument, in your opinion? Explain. Again, you may or may not agree with the conclusion they draw, but which one presents the best argument? Second question, discuss the role of cognitive and perceptual errors as well as social errors in the debate over the existence of UFOs. Be specific. This is where the information we're covering this week is going to come in very handy. We talk about cognitive and perceptual errors and social errors. And the third question, do you believe in the existence of UFOs and the existence of intelligent alien life? Write down the evidence and premises you use to support your conclusion. All right, so our second option is the critical thinking issue at the end of chapter 5, perspectives on gun control. So again, when you get to that section, you'll read the introductory information. Then you will then read Stop Worrying About Guns in the Classroom, They're Already Here by Eric Gilbert, and you'll have 3 questions to answer about that text. First one, on what grounds does Gilbert argue that allowing faculty and students to carry guns will make little difference in the incidence of gun violence on campus? What does he base that statement on? Second, what evidence does Gilbert use to support his statement that many students and faculty already carry concealed weapons on campus, even where it is illegal to do so? So what evidence does he use to support that claim? Third question, according to Gilbert, why are some faculty worried about students carrying guns in their classrooms, and how does Gilbert respond to their concerns? The second text in this critical thinking issue section is testimony by Mark Kelly, Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on gun violence on January 30th, 2013, from a Senate hearing, obviously, and answer the following 4 questions. First, what does Kelly mean when he says that, quote, behind every victim of gun violence lays a matrix of failure and inadequacy in our families, in our communities, in our values, in our society? What does he mean by that? Second, what is Kelly's view regarding the Second Amendment? Third, why does Kelly think background checks are important? And fourth, what compromise does Kelly propose we make in our gun ownership laws? And then after you have read both, you will answer 2 questions. First, critically analyze both Gilbert's and Kelly's position for fallacy. Which person makes the strongest argument regarding gun control measures? Support your answer. The fallacies you'll learn about in chapter 5. Second question, in ATA's annual Campus Security, Police, and Campus Crime Statistics report, the policy for weapons on campus states the following. Bringing a weapon onto school property is strictly prohibited. In order to protect all our students, ATA Career Education reserves the right to search any person and their vehicle who is suspected of concealing a firearm or other weapon. Any student involved in this activity will be terminated from the school and reported to the authorities. Do you agree with the policy? Why or why not? All right. So those are your 2 options for this week's critical thinking issue assignment, UFOs versus gun control. Choose whichever one interests you the most, whichever one you think you can, understand the questions for a little better and answer them a little more thoroughly. Remember that you are expected to sort through the arguments and claims in each text and also apply the information from that chapter, right? So do your best to give thorough responses that are taking all of those elements into account. Try to have this in by Sunday night. If you have any questions or run into any problems, don't hesitate to reach out.